Welcome back. I'm Shane and this is Relative Time. Today I want to show you a great budget 5-watch collection that you can throw together for under $1,000. Now the whole idea behind this actually came out of a horological game show that I've been doing with both Dave from Just the Watch and Alton from Half Past Blog. It's called the Collection Conundrum, and part of that show is that a guest puts together a 5-watch collection based around a particular theme. Like last month I put together a collection of unusual military style watches and called it the Atypical Arms Collection. But the very last episode we did, Dave threw together a budget watch collection based upon the idea of a watch for every situation, which wound up inspiring Timed Right Watches on Instagram to do their own version. And all of this got me thinking that out of all the watches I've seen, what would I include in that kind of collection? So I decided to give it a shot, but I wanted to make it just a little bit more challenging. You see, in the Collection Conundrum, Dave topped out his collection at $1,500. So I decided that this one has to be under $1,000. And just to make it a little bit more difficult, that $1,000 not only counts the watches, but any aftermarket straps or bracelets that I would add, which is something you often have to do, as a lot of these affordable watches' stock straps are kind of crap. So that's where this whole 1,000 watch challenge came from. And it was a little bit more challenging than I thought it was going to be, as with these limitations, you can't quite get everything you want. But let me show you what I came up with, and we're first going to start off with a GMT. When it comes to budget GMTs, my mind always goes to Vostok. It's not exactly what they're known for, but they have a surprising number of options. From the watches I've looked at, you have your very straightforward Komandierski GMT, or the very cool Neptune GMTs, of which there are a surprising number of new colorways. Yet by far my personal favorite is the very unusual dual bezel Reef GMT. Now it doesn't have sapphire, and this is what I'd refer to as a classic or an original GMT, as you can't independently adjust the hour and GMT hands from each other. Rather, you just use the 24-hour bezel to set a second time zone, which is just like how the very first GMTs operated. But at around $189, this is a tough one to beat. It might be a little tall, but it has a great unusual look. It's easy to read, easy to use, and it's also fairly comfortable on the wrist. Plus, it's both a GMT and a 200-meter diver, so how can you go wrong? Now, the watch comes with this black leather rally-style strap, and as a big departure from a lot of other Vostoks, the strap is actually pretty good, so you don't necessarily need to replace it, unless you actually plan on taking it into the water, at which point I just swap it to an inexpensive silicone strap by Ritchie. So throwing that strap in, you're looking at a total cost of $206. Not bad for a GMT. Now, every collection needs a good grab-and-go quartz watch, as well as one that you can take a little bit of abuse from time to time. So for the second watch in this collection, I've decided to go with a watch that can do both. And one of the best options there is a classic G-Shock square. There are a lot of squares you can pick, with a wide range of prices. But the one I have is the GWB 5600, which as of filming this is $139 on Amazon. And when you consider all the features it comes with, that's not bad at all, as this is one that is all gadgeted out. Not only is it tough and capable, but it also has tough solar, Bluetooth, and multiband for picking up the atomic signal. So it's not a watch that you ever have to baby. And as long as it's getting some occasional sun, it should always be ready to go, as well as dead-on accurate. Although if you don't care about Bluetooth, you could always go with the 5610 for a little bit less. Plus, that one has a positive display to make it even easier to read. Now, I didn't particularly care for the stock strap on this G-Shock. I just never really found it that comfortable. There are a few versions with a polymer bracelet, but this one didn't come with that. So I took a chance and wound up upgrading this with a full metal case and bracelet that I found on AliExpress. These cost around $55, and they are something I would definitely recommend. It's a pretty nice upgrade. Not only does it give it a great look, but that bracelet is pretty comfortable. So with that upgrade kit, you're looking at a total of $194. Now, I think at this point the collection's got the practical side of things down, but we are missing a little bit of elegance here. So I think the third watch really needs to be a dress watch. And when it comes to budget dress watches, or at least watches that can double as one, there are a lot of options out there. But for this collection, I decided to go with an Orient Bambino, and that's for one specific reason. Well, maybe two reasons. The first is that they are really hard to beat for the price. But the main reason is that depending on the colorway, these can be really casual friendly, which means it's not always going to get stuck in a watch box just waiting for a special occasion. Now, I've looked at a couple of different Bambinos over the years, but my favorite is still the version 2. There's just something I really love about this one, with its stainless steel case, white dial, and rose gold hands and indices. But if this Bambino isn't for you, there are a lot of other options out there. Now, as of filming this particular Bambino is about $120 on Amazon, so it's a killer look with a price that's hard to beat. Now, when you're talking Bambinos, there are really two downsides to consider. The first has to do with its really tall domed mineral crystal, which is actually one of the reasons you want to buy it in the first place. But some people are concerned that it might wind up being a scratch magnet, which is actually a pretty legitimate concern if you're ever doing anything really active with your Bambino. But the easy solution to that is not to do anything overly active with your Bambino. After all, that's what you got a G-Shock for. But if that is still a concern, then there are a lot of other options out there with flatter crystals. And one of the ones I looked at would be the Orient TriStar Deneb. Now that Deneb is gorgeous, but it has its own set of compromises. The other issue is with the 21mm lug width, that for whatever reason Orient keeps using, which makes finding aftermarket straps just a little bit harder, and with a crappy stock strap, you are going to need a new one. Luckily, there are options out there, and one of the big ones is Barton. Over the last few years, Barton has started introducing 21mm straps across their entire lineup, so they would be the easiest one to look at. But the one I've kept on my Bambino the longest is this Dasari Regal 2, which runs about $34. So with that and the cost of the Bambino, you're looking at a total of $154, which isn't bad. Now, with the dress watch out of the way, I think we need something with a bit of history and maybe a bit of military flavor. So for that, I've decided to go with the best budget Flieger I've run across, which is the automatic Type B from Escapement Time. Now, a review for this is coming soon, but I did show it off a bit when I checked out the Quartz Chrono version. It's almost everything you could want in a Flieger. It has a simple but well-made case with a nice screwed-down onion crown, as well as a sapphire crystal, a gorgeous-looking glossy dial, and a nice set of blued hands. Not to mention great loom and a surprising 300 meters of water resistance. Now, the strap it comes with is pretty decent, but I'd still wind up swapping it out. It looks great on a variety of straps, but there are two in particular that stood out. The first is this really nice mocha leather rally strap, which was made by Rios 1931. And the other is this hybrid Cordura silicone strap by Barton, which would probably be my choice, as you can really take advantage of that 300 meters of water resistance. Either way, both of those straps are $39, so just take your pick. Now, I'm sure some of you are asking if it really makes sense to put a $39 strap on a $99 watch, and maybe not. But even with that, you're only looking at a total cost of $138, and that gives me plenty of wiggle room for the next one. So right now we're looking at a running total of $692, which leaves me about $300 for the last one. So lots of options to pick from here, and there are a few things we are missing. So one option would be to go for a field watch, and one of the best budget field watches I've seen would be one of the Quartz ones from Weyer. It's really a great watch for the price. Yet since we're also missing a chrono, another option might be the Citizen Chandler chronograph, which would give you a field watch and a chrono in one. But I think from a style standpoint, those two watches look a little too similar to both the Vostok and the Flieger. Now, another field watch with a pretty different look would be the Orient Defender. I reviewed the original one a while ago, and I recently picked up a version 2. It's a great budget field watch with a really different look and feel, so that is definitely a viable pick. However, I think the collection is also missing some color and a great bracelet. So, with $300 to play with, I decided to go in a completely different direction and go with an Orient Kamasu. There is some overlap here with the Vostok, but the Kamasu is more of a normal diver, and it has a great sunburst dial. Plus, with its great size, sapphire crystal, and awesome loom, it's become accepted as one of the best budget divers out there. Now, to be honest, I'm kinda cheating here by showing you the red burgundy version. Depending on what colorway you're looking at, the prices can vary, and the red burgundy one is always near the top. Yet, every once in a while you can get lucky, So if you really want one, just keep an eye out. Like right now, if you want the green one, it's actually $210 on Joma Shop. But if you're not the patient type, you can usually find the blue one without a bracelet for about $200, and sometimes even lower, which really is perfect. Now, while I prefer and often recommend the red dial version, every good collection needs a blue dial watch. And as the bracelet really isn't that good, you're not missing out on much. So I think you're better off saving a little bit on the watch and then spending that on a good strap code bracelet. Again, prices vary depending on which one you want, but you can get the standard Jubilee, the standard Oyster, or this kind of crazy retro one for about $90. Throw that on a Kamasu, and I think you have one of the best diver combinations out there, all for a total of $290. So, for a grand total of $982, not counting taxes or shipping, you have a 5-watch collection for just about every situation. Now, it's not perfect, and there are a few things missing. As with these restrictions, it's kind of hard to get everything you want. But I had fun just trying to figure out how to balance all the compromises that needed to be made. So I might do another one in the future. But for now, let me know down below what you think about all of this. The idea of it, the collection, or if you'd swap out any particular watch. Or if you want to take up the challenge yourself and let me know what you would include. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Till next time.